Okay, welcome to another video. I am the Starman. Now, I want to show you how to do star trails in this video. Now, I'm sure you've seen those fancy photographs with all the stars trailing all over the place, or maybe going around Polaris, that sort of thing. I'm just going to show you a couple on the screen now that I have done myself in the last few years or so at some, well, quite exotic locations all around the world as well. Now, unfortunately, at the moment we're under a lockdown here in the UK, so I'm not able to go outside my own garden. So I'm going to do this absolute back to basics video, just showing you how to get started in doing star trails, so that to give you a bit of inspiration, really, just to show you what you can do from your own garden, really. And I do think that star trails as well are a great way to start to learn the sky. If you want to start off in photographing the sky, star trails are the best way to do it, because you don't need any fancy equipment. You can even do it with a mobile phone these days. It's amazing what you can do. And it's also, you'll also learn that if you point the camera in different parts of the sky, you'll find out that the stars move in different directions. For instance, if you point towards the North Star and you do a star trail for a few minutes, you'll notice you start to get circles. And if you point towards opposite the North Star, so if you point towards the south, you'll notice that the stars tend to move kind of weird. You get stars going that way, and you get stars going sort of going this way, and you get straight lines as well in the middle. So it really does depend where you point the camera as to what kind of effect you get. What I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to do a very back to basic star trail set up in the garden when it gets dark a bit later on. Hopefully it'll be clear. I think it will be clear. And I'm going to point roughly towards the north, and I'm going to take you through the process of setting it up, showing the settings, and then we'll put all the exposures then into a program called Starstat, and that stacks all the pictures together. Say you've taken pictures for an hour and you've got 30-second exposures, so you've got 120 pictures then. And then you blend them all together and it creates your star trail photograph out of all those exposures that you took. In the old days with film, you used to have to take just one long exposure, but now with digital it's great. You can just take loads of exposures and put them all together. It's really good. So what I'm going to do now is wait for it to get dark, and then I'm going to set the camera up, and then I'll take you through this, setting up this star trail. Okay, so it's now got nice and dark outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go outside, set the camera up. I'm going to point the camera towards the northern part of the sky. And what I want to do is I want to try and have some kind of foreground at the bottom. I don't want to just point the camera straight up. I want to try and include the houses that are around as a sort of foreground. And then we'll see how many stars we can fit in. Now, I'm not going to be able to fit the North Star in, because the lens I'm using is a 24mm lens, and with having to include the foreground, I'm not going to have enough field of view to be able to fit the Polaris into the top. What's going to happen is Polaris is going to be way off the top of the frame. So the effect we're going to get, we're going to get the rotation of the stars like this. So they're going to be moving like this, and the circles will get smaller as we get higher up the frame. So let's go and set that shot up now and see what we can get. Right, okay, so I've now set the camera up and it's facing towards the north. As I said, I'm composing some of the houses in the foreground, and I'm not going to include Polaris in this picture, but it will give you some sort of idea of what you can get when you do a star trail facing towards the north. So I'm going to show you now the actual settings that I'm going to use to take this star trail. Right, so now I'm going to set the camera up to take this star trail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, first of all, I'm going to set the shutter speed. So I'm going to do that now. The shutter speed is here, 6 seconds, 8 seconds, 10, 13, 15, 20, 25, 30. 30 is normally the max that you can do on a camera without using a timer. Now I do have this timer thing here, which I will be using to trip the shutter, and and then I'm going to leave it to it. I'm just going to leave the camera to it. So I'm going to plug that in now, make sure that's plugged in. Now the aperture is here, f4. This lens does go down to f2.8, but I don't see any need to shoot wide open, so I'm going to choose 30 seconds, f4. I have ISO 100. I'm just going to boost that a little bit. I'm going to take it up to 200. I'm shooting in JPEG only, because if you're shooting star trails, you don't want to be shooting loads and loads of raw files, because you're going to have loads and loads of take up loads and loads of memory, so you don't really want to be doing that. So I'm going to take a test shot now, just to see, give some idea of what we're going to get. So let's have a look now. If we take a test shot now, the test shot will give us some sort of idea of what to expect. Make sure that the composition is okay. I mean, the composition is not going to be that brilliant anyway, because we're in the back garden. Normally I'd like to be out somewhere more exotic, but that's not possible at the moment, so just got to do what I can. Right, okay, so we've now got the test shot. Now you can see here that I've got a foreground here, I've got the houses on this side here, and all this sky here. So what we're going to get, as I explained before, we're going to get sort of semicircular star trails in this kind of a pattern. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to tidy this composition up a little bit. I'm probably going to move the camera a little bit, maybe aim it up slightly more, and then what I'm going to do then, I'm going to go in for a cup of tea. In fact, I'll probably have more than a cup of tea, because I'm going to leave this running for as long as I can. I might leave it running for a couple of hours. So when that's finished, I'm then going to run it through a program called Starstat, and that's really good, because we get to see all the frames build up and build up and build up. You get to see the trails build up and build up. So we're going to leave this running now. So I'm going to set this thing off. I'm going to lock the shutter on this. I've got the frame advance on the camera set to multiple frame. I just lock this down now, and that will fire away, and then when we're finished, come back in a couple of hours, load them into Starstat, and then we can have a bit of fun watching the stars build up. So let's do that then. Right, okay, now this is the best bit. I've got the program Starstat loaded up here, and I've taken the images straight off the camera. I've not processed them at all. I've just put them straight into Starstat. Yeah, I've got about 300. There's about 300 pictures. So they're all uploaded here. These are all the pictures here on the left hand side. This is the program. This is there's some options here on the right hand side: blending, gap filling. This is the standard mode that I would have it in, gap filling mode here on the right hand side. You can also have a different modes as well. There's also a comet mode, which is quite cool. It kind of gives you like little trails on your stars. That's quite cool. It's good for doing time lapses, but this is just back to basics, images in, and just using the standard mode just to create a nice star trail. So what I'm going to do now is, they're all in there, they're all ready to go, and all I have to do now is press this this icon here, and it will then now start to stack all the frames, and that's going to be really good, because we're going to be able to see all those stars all blending together to make a nice star trail. So let's do that then now. Right, that's it. That looks pretty good. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to load the picture into Photoshop, and I'm going to edit it a little bit, and I'll leave you with that at the end of the video. So I hope that you like this video about star trails, and a very, very quick and dirty edit for me, this, but I think that looks really, really good. Really clear as well, no clouds anywhere, unbelievable. Yeah, so I hope it inspires you to have a go at your own star trails. Like I say, you don't need anything special. Mobile phone, cheap camera, cheap lens. You don't need anything special to do star trails. So I hope you've liked the video, and I hope I've given you some sort of inspiration to get out there and do it yourself. So I'll leave you that picture now, the edited picture now, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.